Hello. So we've got rainy weather up here and really hard to stay awake and hear the rain on the roof. But I'm just gonna go through a couple of videos that I've accumulated over the weekend. And I don't know if many of you've seen this. In LA, there was I don't know, somebody found it going through a map or something, but there was help written on near a railway rail card yard. So let's take a look at this video. So, don't know what's happening there, but that's all over. You see the help, traffic go, help all over the yard. Um, so there's that happening in LA. And then we know Trump went to LA. Let me switch this around. We know Trump went to LA, right? And when he was leaving, this is what he had to say.
I don't know if we've ever seen anything like it, frankly. They say the biggest in the history of California. I think, has anything bigger than that happened in the whole country ever? It looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like, but you know what I'm going to say. It looks like something hit it. And we won't talk about what hit it, but it is a bad, bad situation. I don't know if we've ever seen.
So he refers to something hitting LA that caused the fires. Here is, this is a forensic arborist that's determined that the nearby wildfires in California since the Palisade fires have been caused by direct energy weapons. So there's a report, and he goes and he talks about how the trees have burned. He talks about the trees that were burning, how flammable they are. But he goes into some details that actually make you question. So let's take a listen.
The twigs, the needles, the branches, even the trees will burn down, sometimes to a low stump or even a hole in the ground. Not like this one. This was the big Coffee Park fire in Santa Rosa, where 4,700 homes were turned to white ash. And look at the trees. Why aren't they missing along with the houses? Many of these are pine family relatives. Eucalyptus against that road there, or whatever that is, against the road. Those are eucalyptus back there, the round ones. Those are so flammable, a cigarette lighter in your hand can light those on fire. A green leaf, light them right on fire. The forest is primarily valley oak, blue oak, and California bay, which is a very combustible leaf. I can light them on fire again with a cigarette lighter. They didn't burn. There's a bay tree right there. The bottoms will always be burned right at ground level. No reason for that. Grass couldn't do that. You
Right.
take a lot of flames to do that. No, they're being cooked right where they're at. This was an entire bay forest, and I couldn't find one leaf burned. And somehow the leaves turned black. You notice the bottoms of these little suckers here, they're black. Almost every tree here is a bay. They didn't burn, but the ground did. It's only a grass fire here. You can tell this was just grass, and it might have even been kept up. I don't see one burned tree. There's ponderosa pine, black oak, white oak. Well, there's a deodar cedar to the left there a little bit. That's pine family from the Himalayas. And a digger pine on the left, the big multi-branched one. Nothing wanted to burn that day, just the house. Ponderosa pine forest. Little short ones and everything. Where the flames are in the needles, they refuse to ignite. Here's your eucalyptus. It's down in the flames, refuse to burn. Upper foothill or lower pine belt here. Very flammable areas. And no, they're not burning. And look in the background. Chunks of metal everywhere. The two fire captains told me in their combined 60 years, They've never, ever seen a window melt out. Incidentally, every fire I've been to, all these 120 trips, not one window has been intact. Every single one has melted out. No exceptions. There's your aluminum. What's melting it this far away? Well, what's keeping it flowing? These things will flow 20 or 30 feet from a car when there's nothing on the ground to keep them melting. That's a high temperature, but they keep flowing right across the dirt. Here's a fence line. They all look like this. Burn at the nails, burn at the ground. The only place they burn is at the ground and wherever the metals were. What fire does that? A normal fire would burn the post from the bottom up, not skip spots. No, they favor the metals, of course. This is a tall post, perhaps 5 or 6 feet high, and way up high, eye level, just the nail area burned. Here's this board. What really burned? The nails on that board. This little guardrail is a park guardrail, and actually it's all wood. There's no metal here. The cross member, the long ones, and the post are all wood. And each one was burned like this, where the screws were. Many trees are cooking from the inside out. They're burned on the inside, and there's no hole to get a flame in there. This thing was about 4 feet in diameter in a spring, burned from the inside out, and not one leaf burned. When you look at the cuts, this is very important. These are 90% dead. They should not have that heartwood. The dark, dark area is the heartwood. It shows me these things were cooked from the inside out. Here's a soil bag. It still had soil in it. That was there. The tennis shoe was there. And you can see the black. There's black everywhere. A cushion for your chair. I see this chainsaw in the back of this pickup truck. The window melted out at 2,500 degrees. All the tires burned completely, leaving the slinky-like steel belts. That plastic should be gone completely, down to the metals. Didn't happen.
There's so much white ash in some of these photos. It looks like the heat would have been really intense. However, it didn't reach very far.
Why is that? Why is everything reduced to white ash versus...
Well, I'm going to have to say it's because of the extreme heat. It's a different kind of flame. To me, these are microwave-based flames.
So that leads a lot of questions on what actually happened. In LA, Trump alludes to something hitting it. Was it those microwave or the direct energy weapons? Same thing that we saw in Maui, remember, in Lahaina. So, don't know. Just more questions. Hopefully Trump will come out soon and kind of give us a heads up of what's happening, who's behind it all, who's causing all this devastation with the fires, and what's up with the drones. I haven't heard anything about the drones. If you've seen anything with the drones, email me, fyndiane@gmail.com, because I'd love to see it. And maybe play for the audience. I know a couple of you have sent me some videos, and I will get to those and play them. I just saw this, and I thought it was pretty important because Trump was talking about it this weekend. We know on Friday he went to North Carolina, LA, and Vegas, which he again reiterated that if you are a tipped worker, that your tips will not be taxed. So he's taking care of that promise and allowing everybody that's in hospitality or get paid by tips that you are no longer going to be taxed, which is a good thing. But back to North Carolina. So there's a guy in North Carolina that's been reporting on a lot of the devastation that's been happening and that FEMA has not been keeping up with. And we'll listen to one of his videos here in just a minute. But he's been arrested the day before President Trump comes to town, apparently in an attempt to shut him up and exposing their failures. Tyler is being held in the Unicoi County Jail after he spent the last 4 months helping the victims of Hurricane Helene when the federal government failed them. And now, for his sacrifice, he's sitting in a jail cell because some people in the county government got their feelings hurt when he called them out. This is outrageous, just more proof that the corrupt officials care more about themselves than they do about their communities. So let's listen to, Ben Bergquam and Steve Bannon are going to talk about this guy, Tyler.
Obviously, a lot of people getting around him and saying, hey, the FEMA was an epic fail. You would think Tyler Burleson was one of the leaders down there and all set up, eventually to be the guys that President Trump came and met. Had a tough time doing it, Ben Berquam, because they put him in jail. Tell me why, and then we're going to go to Tyler. What happened here, Ben? These guys were on it. They were the ones freezing and doing things for the community, and that when President Trump and Brian Glenn talked about Samaritan's Purse and other local philanthropic and charities, they're the ones that were keeping people survived as FEMA held back the money, Biden held back the money, and the local people, the local government officials didn't step up. So why was he not there greeting President Trump? Why did they put him in jail?
The only thing I can think, and talking to folks on the ground, I talked to Tyler's dad yesterday, talked to Tyler and Misty yesterday. It's because he's exposing these corrupt governments. That's the only thing I can think. I mean, to hold him without bail the day before President Trump comes to town, and now they're saying they're going to hold him till April. I mean, it is corruption at its highest level. I didn't think you see what they did to you see what they did to President Trump, but to see this good old boy Banana Republic style injustice in these small communities where a guy puts his business on the line for 4 months, he loses $100,000 in revenue because he's helping these guys, everybody in his neighborhood that's just trying to survive. And what do they do to that guy? They stick him in jail the day before President Trump comes to town so that he can't talk.
Come on, man.
That's the only thing I can think.
There's no.
So the corruption's still going on. We see it. We know it's happening in Republican areas still. But let's listen to. And they go on and on about the corruption in the county and whatnot. But let's hear from Tyler. Let's listen to one of his reports that he would show and give about what's happening in North Carolina.
Yeah, when we get down here, you'll it looks like it just happened yesterday. It's sad. Right at 300 jobs.
So if you notice in the background through his window, you saw the snow on the ground. So it's pretty cold. It has been pretty cold up here for weeks now. So this wasn't that long ago.
Jobs were lost over here.
And how many lives, you said?
Well, just out of the Impact Plastics, there were 6 people that worked there that died. And they lost their life in the flood.
And we were told that they were forced to stay.
They were told that if they left, they would not have a job. They would be fired if they left.
And 6 of them died.
6 of them died. When it first happened, there was debris piles that were 40, 50 foot high. Just even down, debris everywhere. There were caskets in it. There definitely were bodies in it. They immediately came in. They started pulling out the debris and burning it. Well, the rest of the debris that was on the other side of the river, on the other side of the road, they just started piling up in piles and sorting through it and putting it through a wood chipper. They're not searching for bodies. They're not taking any precaution for bodies that might be in there. They're literally putting it in wood chippers, chipping it up, and they're gonna I don't know what they're gonna do with it. It's full of chemicals. They definitely can't sell it for mulch, to Lowe's or little hardware stores. So I don't know what they're doing with it. But when we get out here, there's still mounds and mounds of dirt that are 40, 50 foot high. It looks like it just happened. So.
And you were out doing search and rescue?
Yeah.
And
the first 2 weeks, we went out every day. Went out every day and searched in places where there wasn't law enforcement. And because everywhere that we went that had law enforcement, we were threatened with arrest. And numerous times, I think I had been threatened with arrest 5 times. Threatened to put me in handcuffs, threatened to take me to jail, just because I was trying to look for bodies. And at that time, 2 or 3 days into it, you're still looking for people that might be alive. You can survive something for a little while, but after a couple days, it's kind of there's not really any hope for it. But I'm Swiftwater Rescue certified, and I even showed my card to the officer. He didn't care. Yeah, it's not like we were just all gung-ho and wanted to go out and look for stuff and get ourselves hurt. You know, that wasn't the goal. We just wanted to help and help find people, because we knew that people were missing, and they wouldn't let us do it. So we found ways to go and do it without interfering with law enforcement. So it's...
What's your estimate of the death toll?
Between North Carolina and Tennessee, between 25 and 35,000 people. Because you got to take into the account all the undocumented people. You got to take into account all the homeless people that were living along the rivers. There were a lot of camps along the rivers that were homeless people. And so you got to account all those people too. And Asheville has a very, very high number of homeless population there. So
They did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they still do. They have even more now because so many people lost their homes.
It's true.
I mean, it's not that they chose to be homeless, because some people do choose to be homeless, you know, but they definitely did not. They had no say-so in this. I mean, nobody expects a Category 5 hurricane to come through the mountains of East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. It usually doesn't happen that way. And astronomical amounts of water were dumped on us in a short period of time, and it just had nowhere to go except down this way, down the French Broad River, down the Nolichucky, down the North Toe River, the Cane River. It had nowhere to go, and then all the landslides on top of that. You know, it's just, it wasn't a good situation, and it was a recipe for disaster, really. This is nuclear fuels right here.
And the worst part about all this is the response by the government. You guys have been out here for almost 4 months, and you've gotten, I mean, this is, it's just unfathomable to me that you've gotten no support.
Yeah. If you ask the government, they've supported us. They're gonna lie through their teeth and say, yeah, we've helped, we've done a lot. Well, what have they done? Because any other hurricane that's ever hit the United States, they're in there with push crews, they're in there with contract companies that are coming in and are moving the debris. There has not been one open contract until about 2 weeks ago for storm recovery.
Wow.
Not one. So it's like 4 months into it. I think there's a video on YouTube. I was talking, and we were standing there filming, and they pulled in a grapple truck. 57 days. It took 57 days to get a grapple truck to come in to help clean up some of this debris.
And this is coming from a guy who knows.
We do a lot of storm work. I've been to South Georgia, I've been to Savannah, I've been to Jacksonville, to Orlando, a lot of different places doing storm recovery. And, you know, we're always there 2 days before, getting staged and ready to roll. As soon as that storm rolls through, you get out and you go to work and you do your thing and you start cleaning stuff up. But this is where we're left at 4 months. And you've got monitors right here. People are hauling out debris. You know, it's an astronomical amount of debris. I mean, millions of cubic yards.
And this is 4 months later.
4 months later. Now, we won't be able to go all the way back in here. We may get stopped by somebody, but, you know, if they try to arrest us, we'll just run.
We'll claim we're illegal.
Yeah.
Jeez. And all this plastic tubing, this actually came out of these warehouses?
Yeah. Impact Plastics is one of them. I think another one is Polypipe or Polycon.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Did they just start doing this? Like, I mean, this can't be 4 months of this. This is insane, the amount that's still here.
Yeah, I mean, they've been nibbling at it bit by bit, but they haven't really done anything. We'll go back here as far as we can go. May have to lock her down in 4-wheel drive.
What's crazy to me is this is one location in a tiny spot on a massive geographic area.
Yep.
That everywhere you go, it has something similar to this.
Yep. I think we should show.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. See if anyone tries to stop us. River in reference to here is on the other side of the freeway?
Right there on the other side of the freeway.
So all of this, were these buildings covered? Or I mean, it was
water was up over the signs.
Wow.
Massive. They supply the area with lumber. I mean, and there was hundreds of millions of dollars worth of lumber out here that you can see down through there. I mean, it literally looks like it happened yesterday. I mean, there's not been really any signs of improvement. They're just, if these are government contracts, they're taking their sweet time so they can milk it for as much as they can. And that's the only thing I can see that it boils down to. But also, there's a lot of things in this soil. I've got some readings I can give you of what is actually in the soil, that people that have farms down here that grow crops won't be able to grow crops for at least 2 years.
Wow.
So 2 weeks ago we did these samples. The arsenic permissible is 0.01 milligrams. The arsenic actual is 8.27 milligrams. Barium permissible is 0.05 milligrams. The barium actual is 853.73 milligrams. Chromium permissible is 0.05. The chromium actual is 57.42. Lead permissible is 0.05. The actual is 194.06. And selenium is 0.2 milligrams. The selenium actual is 2.26 milligrams.
And all of that is running down the watershed.
That's in the water. That's the water tank. That's the water, not the soil. So imagine what the soil amounts are.
And that's almost 4 months, three months later.
3 months later, it's still in the water somehow. You would think water would dilute it and would run down river and it would keep going. But for some reason, it's sticking around. There's still stuff leaching into the ground. And you've also got all the septic tanks. A lot of the sewer systems were damaged. We don't even have a fully functional waste management plant anymore because it got flooded. But somehow we're not under a water boil.
Wow.
It makes no sense to me.
So there's all kinds of impacts that we're not even thinking about yet.
Yeah.
That you guys are going to be dealing with for decades.
Yeah. I mean, this whole rebuild process is going to take 3 to 4 years. And this park right here is going to take 3 to 4 years just to get this industrial park back up. And I think there were like 75 people that worked here. There were over 300 jobs that were lost within this little strip right here.
Wow.
And
not to mention, as you mentioned, the farmers downstream that don't even realize what's coming at them.
Some of the farmers can't even access their land to grow stuff on because it's got so much sediment and their culverts are stopped up and there's so much mud. And I went to help a guy dig out a culvert and my machine just sank. And I was lucky I was able to get it out, but using the bucket and the arm, and he can't get any of his tractors in at all. I mean, he's got 120 acres roughly that he's not going to be able to farm again because his irrigation's messed up, his culverts are all stopped up, and nobody's coming in to help. Nobody, National Guard was here. They had 14 guys down in Bumpus Cove, and I wish I would have filmed it, but I didn't. They had 14 guys and 7 pieces of equipment. 2 of those pieces of equipment were running, but they didn't do anything with them. They were just kind of piddling around, and they didn't get anything accomplished. And I approached them. I said, guys, aren't you supposed to be here to help clean up the debris, to move it towards the road so that the county can come in and we can load the dump trucks up and get it out of here? We're waiting on our orders. You know what you're supposed to do. You were trained to operate this equipment. Like, this is what you came here for. Use the equipment and get the stuff done. But they didn't do anything. They just showed up, made their presence known, for the news or whatever it was, and then they just left, packed up and left. I even got one of their pieces of equipment and started using it. I said, I saw our tax dollars. I know how to operate this equipment, so I'm going to use it. Somebody's on my machine right now. I'm going to use yours since you're not going to. And they tried to stop me, but at the end of the day, we sat there and argued for a minute, and they let me do my thing. But they weren't willing to get in it and use it. It's sad.
What a shame. So you said I just passed impact plastics?
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I believe, that was one of the nuclear fuel warehouses right there.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're getting ready to cross that little bridge. But up here in this warehouse, it was they made sheds, and they lost everything. You'll see it when you get up there.
Yeah, I drove by it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just frames.
Yeah.
All you got are your. That's insane. So that was driving by it. You think, oh, they're just building a new building. That was a fully functioning warehouse.
Fully functioning warehouse, and they built out sheds, little buildings for people to store or live in.
So everything that was in that building
gone. They lost, I think, probably 250 plus sheds. They're people's vehicles. They couldn't get them. They had to just leave them.
And you said Impact Plastics lost 6 people.
6 people, yeah.
What are they even saying are the total losses here in Irwin?
They say it's 12.
Oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous.
It's way more than that.
It's so ridiculous.
You can see all that debris right there, and that's all from the poly pipe and Impact Plastics.
So the river's running this way?
River, if you pan to your left, you should be able to see the river over right there.
And that's down. So that's downstream.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And some of that debris is over in the corner right there, like on this side of the river.
It went all the way across.
Yeah.
Wow.
It completely covered the interstate.
So looking at the river, so people can understand, is we got the river in the middle of the screen there. That water was up and over the freeway, up and over the railroad. Everything you see on your left was covered in water.
Yep.
Wow.
And it collapsed the 26 bridge too. That's why it's shut down to one lane.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I said, 4 of the 7 bridges on Nolichucky River were either completely destroyed or very badly damaged. And this area right here is where we were coming to bring cadaver dogs, and this is where they said, no, you can't come back here. We'll arrest you if we come back. And back there, right near that shed place, is where I go in from the railroad track side, and I was able to access all that. And that's when I told the cop, hey, if you want to get stuck, come find me.
Wow. And like you said, what a beautiful place, man. You guys are living on paradise up here, and it's just been destroyed, and they're letting it stay destroyed. It's truly unbelievable.
And our local government doesn't want to help. I mean, they don't do anything to help.
Why would you think, are they getting paid off? They're not a bunch of libs.
This little town is very close knit. Everybody that works in the government offices up there, they're all related to each other somehow, one way or the other. They're very corrupt. I feel like it's payoffs.
Wow.
But I'm not 100% sure. That's not a fact. It's just my speculation.
Yeah.
Because they are very corrupt, and this town is money hungry. So.
And just to confirm, that's where the bridge washed out, the right side there?
Yeah. Well, both sides actually washed out. But if you zoom in on that right there, they filled it in with gravel on the edge of that bridge right there where those cars are crossing.
Mm-hmm.
And they paved over it to get that side accessible. And now they're rebuilding the other bridge.
Here?
Yeah. And if you drive across it where they just lightly packed it with gravel, it's already sinking.
Oh, wow.
But there, you can see the section of the bridge out there that's out.
So this was, the left side was temporary fix.
Yeah.
Now they're rebuilding the right side.
Yeah.
And they'll have to come back and rebuild the left side.
Yeah. It was shut down for 2.5 weeks before they even started rebuilding it.
Wow. That's a huge, and this is a huge artery.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is 26. 26 runs all the way to Charleston, South Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really had to get anywhere. You had to go a long, long ways, huh?
We went to Charlotte, and it turned our Charlotte drive, which was usually 3 hours away. It turned it into 6.
Wow. And just look at this amount of debris.
4 months later.
4 months later. I mean, that people just, they need to see this. 4 months later. That's what I was saying yesterday. I was just in Ukraine last summer. And I'm like, they're rebuilding Ukraine faster than they're rebuilding America.
Yeah. Well, we gave them a lot of money.
Yeah, we did.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's what happens when you prioritize
everybody else except your own people. And where do they get this money from? They get it from us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taxpayers' money, and they just give it away. It's like, oh,
what a disgrace.
And this is just a little spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
one little artery in the bloodstream of.
I mean, I think we got hit worse than Asheville did. Not comparing apples to oranges. Both of us were devastated and destroyed, but we got the sharper end of the stick for sure.